Hi, I'm Siobhán Fletcher and welcome to the latest edition of our newscast. So, first of all, can you introduce yourself for me?
Hello, I'm Jim MacGregor and I'm a Civil Defence member and been a Civil Defence member for 22 years now. So, I'm pretty well experienced at it now. I initially joined, there was an advert actually, which a little bit like we're doing next Wednesday, where it was a recruitment. And I think about 10 of us joined. There's only 2 that joined my year. And never looked back. Absolutely love it. Really good.
I suppose, so what goes into someone being in civil defence? I mean, what's the training like and what sort of shouts do you respond to?
The training is very, very varied, really because of the tasks that civil defence do. Quite a lot of the public don't understand even what civil defence is, and the UK doesn't have a civil defence anymore. And basically, being on the island, we're quite restricted. So if suddenly there's a big fire or there's a big police incident, they haven't got any neighbouring police forces or fire services to join in. So we're there to sort of back up the emergency services. And because of the varied roles, really the people, the volunteers, it's such a varied thing. We've got some people that are what we call the mountain goats, the ones that get up on the hills, really fit. We've got ones that love doing first aid. You've got people that like doing the sort of rest centres, catering, lighting. There's such a range, flooding as well, that, all different types and ages. I think what I like so much is we've got such varied backgrounds. I'm a teacher. We've got people who work in offices. We've got people who work for governments. We've got people who are self-employed, gardeners. And we all come together and just, it's amazing, such a wide variety, get on so well. It really is about teamwork.
I suppose thinking about some of the stories that I've written involving civil defence, it is that range of things. It's even like, I think people mostly know, speaking for certainly recently, when there's a cold snap or we have snow or things like that, you guys are quite good at getting our emergency services to where they need to be. So is it just that constant backup of making sure that you keep the lights on, really?
Yeah, it certainly is. I can give you some examples of recent ones. So just last Monday, just gone, we were out on a search around the hospital grounds for a missing person. In recent times, we have had snow, where in particular it's taking people like nurses to the hospital. COVID times, obviously, we were busy giving out, testers and things. But then we've also had flooding instances fairly recently. So, it has been quite a range that we've had. And having the volunteers there is just such a valuable thing. My speciality is finding unexploded Second World War mortars, which doesn't make me very popular because as soon as we find a mortar, it's we've got to do guard duty for usually 2 or 3 days, which I'm not that popular, I'll be honest. Not in that sense anyway.
Yeah, because we think some of the ones I've heard of where we found them, and then bomb disposal experts often have to come over from the UK, don't they? So it's that keeping us safe until they can get here in a way.
Yeah, as soon as it's been found, one of them was on the Sartfell track. Now this is a track that mountain bikers, fell runners, motorbikes use, and it was a live mortar. You could see the tail fin. So you can't then have people going along once you know it's there. So we have to put a cordon out, usually quite cold. We were treated last time because there was actually the Northern Lights as we were driving back. We swapped over at 2 a.m. and we were going back on the Bennypot Road and amazing Northern Lights. So we just sort of pulled over and watched that for half an hour. So you get rewards like that as well sometimes.
So you have like a million stories probably I could pick your brains on. If anyone's sort of thinking this sounds quite exciting, it's so varied and there's all sorts of different things to do. I suppose what sorts of people are you looking for? And if they were interested in signing up, what's the sort of time commitments? How much you said the training's varied. Is it every day, every week, certain days? What does it look like?
Yeah, so we train every Wednesday. We usually have a 2-week break at Christmas and TT. And the training's from 8 till 10. There's also some additional things we sometimes do. One of the things I organise is the beacons, like for the Queen's Jubilee and for the King's coronation. We do lights on the hills, which is quite good fun. So commitment-wise, it's definitely the Wednesdays that you have to do. But then there's always other things going on. Some people like doing parades where they go in uniform and they march. And then there's the additional things as well, where sometimes we all get together. So I've organised quite a few expeditions where we've done the Yorkshire Dales 3 Peaks, we've done the National 3 Peaks, and that just brings everyone together, because even with that, there's some people that love driving and do the logistics. There's some people like the radios, and then there's some that actually want to get out on the hill. So very varied again.
So what I'm hearing is kind of anyone and everyone who's up for it, come down and have a little look next week.
Yeah, definitely. You have to have a good sense of humour. You have to be willing to learn, listen, learn from mistakes. That's really important. But I don't think there's any one particular type of person that you'd look for. The key is teamwork, getting on really well with each other. And of course, yes, I mentioned exciting times like, bombs and flooding and stuff. There is some times where you just have to train and you keep repetitive training, and that's how it gets ingrained, so that when something does happen, there's no panic. It is just routine of following how we've been trained.
Spot on. Is there anything you think I've missed or you want to cover?
I just would recommend it. I think my advice for anyone would be to come down, have a look. Even usually we do an induction program, so do it for sort of 2 or 3 weeks. Get to know the people, but it's very much, it's like anything, you get out of it what you put into it, and if you're willing to completely immerse yourself in it, then you'll really enjoy it.
Okay, could you introduce yourself for me, so just your full name and what you do here?
Sure. I'm Richard Allen, and I've been a volunteer for just over a year.
And so what made you want to join then?
It was through a friend who's been a volunteer for about over 10 years. So I knew a little bit about civil defence, and obviously just chatting about it, one day I was invited to come down to find out a little bit more. Took part in some training, some navigation training, which I enjoyed doing. Then came back following weeks and we did missing persons search exercises, and I just kept coming back, learning more, meeting new people. Everybody's really friendly and supportive, and I enjoy it because it feels like you're giving a little bit back to the community, but also you learn a lot along the way, and it's good fun. But it's sorry, I lost my train of thought.
No, yeah, you're okay.
So I kept coming back because I enjoyed it. It's something I thought I would find rewarding, which I have done, and it's been a really good experience.
And so, I was sort of chatting already about the various things that you respond to. Do you think do you think the public realise the range of things that you actually all get up to?
I think some people do, and part of the event we're having next week, I think, is to not just to invite people to come down and find out, potentially become volunteers, but also the publicity around it, including the media coverage, which we're obviously very grateful for, is to let more people know exactly what we do and the contribution that we make. Because in my own ignorance, I wasn't fully aware of just how much civil defence does. And also I think it's interesting that it's quite unique for the Isle of Man, because civil defence doesn't exist in the UK. It does exist in the Republic of Ireland. But it's something that makes the Isle of Man a little bit unique because it's a small community. So when big incidents do happen, it's kind of like all hands on deck, so it does make a difference.
And so would you kind of encourage people then to come along, even just to take a look and see if it's something that might be for them?
Yes, and I think one thing that I've learned along the way is I do an office job. Some people here have got armed forces experience or experiences in 999 services. Obviously those skills are very much applicable. So I think my hesitancy about getting involved was, well, I do an office job, so I don't really have any transferable skills. But everybody can do something, and of course everybody's trained. And one of the things I gain from being out at incidents is knowing that I've got really experienced people around me, so it's not like I'm kind of caught in the headlights, and there's always very experienced people there. So, and everybody can do something, everybody can contribute something.
Can you just introduce yourself for me?
Hello, yes, my name is Judith Bartram.
Perfect. And we're here at Civil Defence. So the question I'm asking everyone first of all is, why did you sign up?
Well, it was about 24 years ago, and I saw an advert in the newspaper, and it had 4x4 driving and like catering trailers and going out on hill searches. And I just thought, well, that sounds really interesting, because it's nothing, you wouldn't be able to do stuff like that in normal everyday life.
And I suppose any sort of misconceptions really about civil defence, it may be that it's sort of all blokes, so there's some women here, and also I suppose is the other thing that kind of anyone and everyone could come down and get involved.
Absolutely. I think it was probably more fellas when I joined, and now we've got a lot more women. But the whole point of civil defence was that everybody's got very, very different skills, and that's what it makes it so good, because you don't know what you're going to get called out to. You could be going to a flood, you could be going to a missing person search, literally anything, all sorts of weird and wonderful things. And you need people with lots of different skills, because you don't know what skill that you might need. So it might be somebody needs to be really, really fit and go on a hasty search, but then likewise it might be somebody who's setting up a rest centre with distressed people, so they need someone just to chat to, keep them calm, make them a cup of tea, etc. So it's quite a wide spectrum of skills.
So I suppose the message then ahead of this open event on Wednesday is kind of, if it piques your interest at all, come down and just have a look.
Absolutely, yeah. And I mean, you genuinely get to do stuff that you would honestly never ever get to do in normal, in inverted commas, life.
Go on then, maddest thing you've ever had to do.
Oh, God.
I've stumped you there.
Oh, you have? Yeah. I don't know, because there's just so many. Probably weird. The only thing I could think of at the top of my head was Meet the Queen.
Guys, that's not shabby, is it?
Which was civil defence, but yeah, there's probably been madder. I think maybe the maddest one was I went to what's called the Great Fire of Bradda when I first joined, right. And all the roads were closed, and driving into that, and you could see the fire. And knowing that we were going in, initially we were helping the fire, we were doing catering for the fire brigade, but we actually ended up helping the fire service. So that was pretty mad. Yeah.
There we go.
Perfect. Thank you for making it to the end of the Manx Radio Newscast. You are obviously someone with exquisite taste. May I politely suggest you might want to subscribe to this and a wide range of Manx Radio podcasts at your favourite podcast provider, so our best bits will magically appear on your smartphone. Thank you.